Question: I have 3 cats. Am I incurring a bad karma if I feed them cat food that contains meat? Cats cannot survive merely by hunting. That's the question. All right, let's take this apart. First, according to Bhagavad Gita, every activity which is not done as an act of yajna binds one to this world by karmic reactions. Yagyartat karma no nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kamte mukta sangha samachara. Prabhupada's translation: work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. So any activity which is not done as a yajna, as a sacrifice for Vishnu, binds one to this world. Now the question here is not whether this is the activity of feeding cats cat food that contains meat, whether that is karma-free activity, but whether it produces what the person calls bad karma, and assume that bad karma means some heavier, nastier form of karma, reactions to immoral, not good deeds. Okay. People out of sentiment get implicated, entangled in relationships they shouldn't be getting implicated or entangled with, and that's very popular for people domesticating animals that need not be domesticated except for their own personal pleasure. Like, I want to have a cat. Why do you want to have a cat? Are you sure cat wants to be had by you, for example? But no, that's object of my possession. I'm not saying that this person that I'm answering this question to has this attitude, but I'm pointing out a principle here, that people have a tendency to get implicated in lives, in natural lives where they're not supposed to be, and therefore they find themselves in a bit of a mess. Like animals have their natural lives, and then you domesticate them, and then you have issues. Like the one where karmic reactions are being implicated. So now that you're entangled in a relationship with an animal, what do you do? Now, I just came from a walk. I'm in Germany somewhere. I came from a walk with Adi Purusha Prabhuji, and we discussed this. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find Narada Muni talking in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam, talking to King Prachina Barhishat. Now, in order to help the king understand a couple of things, Narada Muni tells him a story of a person named Puranjana, because Puranjana does everything that King Prachina Barhishat does, and the idea is that the king recognizes himself in this person of Puranjana. So, among other things, what Puranjana does is that Puranjana performs Vedic sacrifices, Vedic religious sacrifices that involve sacrificing of animals. That means, killing an animal and offering the animal into the sacrifice. And the interesting thing that Narada Muni tells the king, that through this story, that you, even though this is a Vedic sacrifice, you incur not just karma, bad karma. As he was being dragged out of the city of his own body, the city. You read the story, it's very interesting, in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam. The story of Puranjana, Narada Muni, and Prachina Barhishat, King Prachina Barhishat. As he is being dragged out of the city of his body, God knows where he's being dragged to, but suggestion is, off you go to an unwanted destination, and then along the road there were all of the animals that he sacrificed, and these animals are trying to bite him, pierce him with horns, and torture him. All of the animals that he sacrificed in Vedic sacrifice. Very interesting. So, of course, when we speak of bad karma, we have to understand that there's gradation of karma in general, or reactions to our doings, and so holds true for so-called bad karma, like a very unpleasant results to our activities. And so there's a lot of similarities here with the situation with cats. And I'll read the purport, section of the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those who are very enthusiastic about killing animals in the name of religion or for food must await similar punishment after death. The word mamsa, meat, indicates that those animals who we kill will be given an opportunity to kill us. Although in actuality no living entity is killed. Living entity is spiritual, just the body is killed. The pains of being pierced by the horns of animals will be experienced after death. Not knowing this, rascals unhesitatingly go on killing poor animals. So-called human civilization has opened many slaughterhouses for animals in the name of religion or food. Those who are a little religious kill animals in temples, mosques, and synagogues, and those who are more fallen maintain various slaughterhouses. Very intense. So the person who sent me this question is not maintaining a slaughterhouse, she is not killing animals, but she's participating in this activity by feeding her cat. So that'd be my take on it. Yes, there is, for God's sake, he was performing religious sacrifices and he found himself in trouble. What to speak of feeding cats? So cats, by their very nature, they eat, they hunt, they kill, and by God given like that. But we as humans, we don't. And we ought to leave the animals to their own lives, dharmically, naturally, as it's given to them. Now that you're implicated, so what should you do? Let the cats die. If it is so that there is no other option that the cats die, I can hardly imagine that there is no vegetarian food to be found for cats. I mean, I would assume there is something such. So anyhow, this pulls some other questions, but anyhow, I will just keep it at this, and I'm sure people will be commenting on the video. Some more knowledge might be presented and the situation expanded. And again, I do recognize that there is more to the situation, but for the time being, I'll just leave it at this. So there are repercussions for participating in unnecessary torture of animals, and one should avoid that at all costs. To what extent this is, to what extent the person who sent me this question is implicated in the nastiness of torturing animals, it's not all that easy to tell, but nevertheless there are suggestions like this passage from the Bhagavatam that could be troublesome. So anyhow, whatever the situation in this world, one should seek transcendence, namely transcendental devotional service, to elevate oneself above this world. And if you do keep those cats, I'd say you try to procure food by as moral means as possible. Hare Krishna.